Can snakes eat people? Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the vlog. I hope the start to your day is amazing. You know, there's been a news story that's been going around the last couple days. So one of the things that I get asked an awful lot is, can snakes eat people? And it's a little bit difficult to explain that in one simple thing. Can snakes eat people? Obviously, yes, and we saw that in the news story that just was out about a man getting eaten. Now, snakes aren't killers, and snakes don't look at people as a food source, but certainly there are times when snakes can potentially eat people. Now, I'm gonna show a really quick clip of this man that was found in Indonesia inside the belly of a snake. So I'll show a real quick clip. It's not gonna be, you know, so if you wanna close your eyes for a second, I just wanna make sure you understand what I'm talking about. And then I wanna talk about how really snakes shouldn't be demonized because of this one instance or instance in the past. So here's the clip really quick, and then we'll get back to talking about snakes eating people. But before I really start talking about snakes and eating people, I want to talk about just relationships with animals. We have to all understand that animals are, you know, they're not human beings, and we have to really understand what we're dealing with. Obviously, I've got an alligator here named RJ, who's a good friend of mine, and I understand him. You know, he's not a cat, he's not a dog, he's a reptile, and he's an alligator. That doesn't mean I can't have a great relationship with him and I can't understand him. Oftentimes, us as people make the mistake of not really understanding what an animal is. I mean, if you want to go in and pet a tiger just because you have a bunch of house cats, probably not going to end out very well, but we have to always understand what we are. One of my big sayings is, of course, you know, don't fear, respect. And these animals can be dangerous if they're not respected properly or treated properly. So you have to create that relationship and you have to understand what you're dealing with. But as you can see, you can create a relationship with almost any animal if you understand them and you respect them. That doesn't mean that everybody should be messing with an alligator or everyone should be messing with a lion or a tiger. But if we understand the animals and create that relationship, there's really no danger in it, especially if we continue to realize that there's parameters that we don't want to cross. There's definitely borders. Like RJ here has been an animal that I've had since he was a baby, and I've continued to have an amazing relationship with him all along. I continue to handle him, continue to create that bond, but I also realize he is an alligator, and if I do something silly, I might get hurt. That doesn't mean that I'm afraid of him whatsoever, because he's an amazing animal, as you can see, but he's still an alligator. He's not a puppy, he's not a kitten, and I understand that. And the more we understand animals, the more we can get to it. So now, back to the guy that got eaten by a snake. To start with, we really have to understand what a python is. You know, a lot of times the general population hears, oh my God, did you see that python ate that guy? And they think all pythons can eat people. So let me just show you an example. This is an adult ball python right here. This is as big as it's gonna get, you know? Yeah, it might get slightly bigger, but I mean, that's pretty much, it's 99% full grown. Obviously, this animal not only couldn't eat a person, it wouldn't want to eat a dog or a cat or your household pet of whatever it is, unless you have a mouse or a rat as a pet. This guy is completely harmless. So we don't want to sit back and say, all right, well, hey, pythons eat people, and so we have to be afraid of pythons, because that's just proliferating fear of lack of knowledge. And again, what do I always preach? I always preach that the opposite of fear is knowledge. So we have to educate people so they understand that not all pythons get large enough to eat people, and let's take this one step further, not all pythons that get really large have an interest in feeding on people. Well, none of them have an interest in feeding on people, but have the ability to eat people. Let's take, for example, a Burmese python. This happens to be an albino Burmese python. You guys have known her in the past. Her name is Sunrise, and she's an amazing snake. Now, Burmese pythons are in the top, 4 sized animals in the world when it comes to snakes. Certainly some Burmese pythons rarely exceed 18, 19 foot, but they can get 18, 19, and almost 20 foot. And there's been a couple cases of Burmese pythons that have gotten over 300 pounds. Now, a 300-pound snake certainly has the ability to eat something that's 100+ pounds. But when it comes to Burmese pythons, they typically don't like too large of meals, and they really don't want to eat people. I mean, they don't look at a person as a food source. And again, going back to it, no snakes actually look at people as a food source, but some snakes will take an opportunity to eat a person if that perfect storm happens. But only a couple snakes really have the ability to eat people on a regular basis, or I shouldn't say a regular basis, but on a very rare basis, but it happens more than once. When it comes to some of the big giant snakes like the Burmese python, and believe it or not, the anaconda that everyone thinks is a man-eater, these guys typically don't eat things the size of a human being, even a small human being. So again, an anaconda, be very rare for it to ever hurt a human being. A Burmese python, pretty much unheard of. We all know that there's Burmese pythons down in the Everglades and everyone's all afraid of that, but the truth is there's absolutely no danger to people, or I should say very, very little possibility of danger to people. There's really only 2 species of snake that have the best potential to eat people, to be totally honest, and that have regularly known to eat people. Again, it's not something that they're out searching and trying to eat people because that's part of their diet, but it does happen under just that perfect situation. And that would, of course, be, just like my girl Daisy here, reticulated pythons. Now, listen, again, I'm in no danger here. She's not gonna try to eat me. She's not gonna try to hurt me. And anyone that is keeping a pet reticulated python, the chances of being harmed by an animal like this is next to nothing, especially if you're handling it properly and being smart about it. But the fact is that reticulated pythons certainly eat very large meals, and they could look at a human being as a potential food source. Again, they're not gonna chase somebody down like the movie Anaconda, but it is potentially possible that in the right situation, maybe someone's sleeping, maybe someone passed out drunk, maybe even there's a chance that you could, surprise a python in the jungle, and it might say, oh my gosh, there's an opportunity to eat this person. It's possible, but again, reticulated pythons are certainly an animal, much like what happened in Indonesia. It was a reticulated python. They are an animal that look at large meal size and think that that's a good opportunity for them. But again, that's not going to be something that's going to be very common whatsoever. And reticulated pythons also are one of the snakes that can exceed 20 feet in length. So they have the size, they have the mentality to go after something the size of a human. So yes, usually when you hear of somebody being eaten by a snake, it typically is a reticulated python, unfortunately. But that doesn't make reticulated pythons mean or killers or anything. They're just opportunistic feeders. And again, you got to remember, out of the millions and millions of food items that they eat in the wild, maybe once in a blue moon, a human being may be involved in it. And that's never a good thing. I'm not trying to justify it, but the truth is that the number of people that are killed and eaten by pythons are next to nothing. I mean, you can almost count them on your hands over the last several decades. And certainly in captivity, it's really never happened. It's always something that happens in the jungles, typically of the Philippines or Indonesia. But again, I don't want to vilify even reticulated pythons because they're still amazing animals. It's just the fact that most people know that I'm a snake guy and I have a decent following, and when something happens like what happened in Indonesia, I feel I need to talk about it and to set the record straight. And as a reptile person, if I sat here and said, oh, it doesn't happen or this, I'd be lying to you. So the fact is that it is extremely rare for people to be taken by any python, even a reticulated python. But it does happen on occasion. Again, it's kind of that situation where you have the jungles of Indonesia, the jungles of Philippines, and then you have really people that are typically smaller people. You know, most of that population is 100 pounds or in that area. So they unfortunately get into a situation where if they come across the wrong animal, or if they, you know, again, pass out or have some kind of problem, and the snake says, oh my God, this is an opportunity for a free meal, it's going to potentially happen. I cannot stress enough in the fact that if your neighbor has a python, you should not be afraid of your children or your dog or your cat being in any danger whatsoever, because that's just overacting, and that's also not having the knowledge of what reptiles really are, which are not killers. And we have to continue to preach that to people so they understand the truth. You know, in the end, we don't want anyone to die. One person dying is too many people for this type of thing. But at the same time, these things happen, and it doesn't make it good, and it doesn't make me happy. And as a reptile lover, someone that loves all animals, but snakes in particular, it's really a sad day when I see something like this, because it makes such major news, and then people get this bad image of snakes in particular, and pythons in particular. Everyone that doesn't know is sitting around their dinner table talking about how, hey, have you seen that snake ate that person? And then in their head, every person they know that might keep a pet python now has an animal that might eat somebody. And that's just not the case, people. So we have to do a good job of trying to educate people the reality of it. Again, you know, I'm not saying that it's good that anyone died, but the fact is that it wouldn't make headline news if a person died for something that wasn't as extreme as a python eating it. I agree, when I saw the story, it's a sensational story. It catches your eyes, and it makes people want to watch and see, wow, what happened? I mean, it's kind of incredible to think, oh my God, a person was swallowed whole by a snake. I mean, that's crazy. Even someone like me that's been around snakes my whole life, it's still a sensational story that I immediately went to and said, oh my God, I've got to learn more about that. I get it, people. It makes sense. But that doesn't mean that snakes are killers. You know, I guess one of the purposes in life that I have now is making people understand how diverse snakes are. You know, a lot of times people think that a snake is a snake is a snake. They think of a snake, they think of a python, they think of that news article about people eating. But the fact is they're just so diverse. There's thousands of species of snakes. I mean, take a look at this one here. This thing is absolutely incredible. This is a rhino rat snake from Vietnam. I mean, look how amazing that animal is, you know? And again, there's just so much diversity in snakes, from the littlest tiny snake that is only, you know, 4 or 5 inches long as an adult, all the way up into the really large pythons. Take a look at I mean, I'm just blown away at you know, how incredibly majestic these animals are, and the different paint jobs that Mother Nature has made on these guys, like this T-positive Nelson's milk snake. I mean, there is a million snakes that are just absolutely beautiful. So again, we have to continue to try to educate people about how incredible they are, and that they shouldn't be feared, and they certainly shouldn't be lumped into the category of that unfortunate news story. So what have we learned today? We've learned that snakes can eat people. It's possible, but we've also learned that it's very rare and that it's overblown, typically because it's a really sensational media story. And we've also learned that there's a lot of diversity when it comes to snakes. They can be small, they can be big, they can be mid-sized, they can be a little bit defensive, they can be very docile. I hope this helped you guys out. I'm gonna get wrapped up here pretty soon, because me and Lori are going on a little journey that we're going to take you guys on, and I'm excited for that. So I'm going to get my stuff done really quick. Okay, so Lori, we're going to get wrapped up here pretty soon. Are you excited about this trip?
Yes, I'm very excited.
Okay, I didn't tell anybody, I didn't tell these guys where we're going. So, okay. Do you want to give them a hint?
It's north.
North? It's not really that north.
No?
A little bit north, but mainly east.
It's northeast.
There you go.
It's away from here, and that's really all that matters. I just need a break.
That's right. We both need a little bit of a break. So we're gonna, Lori's finishing up her work. I'm gonna finish up my work. We're gonna go home, get packed up, and we're gonna get on the road. And then later tonight, we'll be at our destination. And you guys may or may not know where it is at that point. But go ahead and comment down below and let me know what you guys think. Where are we going today? And what are we doing? So, see how many people get it. Okay, the work here at the shop is done. We're heading home. We're gonna pack up and we're gonna get on a road to our little special journey. Okay, so we're only going for like 1 day, so we don't need a whole lot of things. I think I literally just need some pants. I need a shirt or two, warm weather clothes. I'd probably need a bathing suit just in case. Why would I need maybe you just never know. You gotta take a bathing suit. Pretty much simple. I mean, this is just, we'll be back in a day and a half, so we don't need to pack so much. What are you taking, Laurie? Anything special?
All off pants.
All off pants. That's solid choice, solid choice. And we're off on our epic journey. You ready, Laurie?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, so it's about a 4.5 hour journey, something like that, and we'll be there. So we should be there sometime later tonight. We might tell you later on where we're ending up, but we might keep you guessing. I'm not sure yet. So away we go. Well, the downside so far is we've been sitting in this traffic for the last 45 minutes, waiting to get out of this country. Maybe the Trump effect is going on and just people are fleeing the country, but this is a pain in the butt. I mean, I just want to get on the road. Again, it's about a 4.5 hour drive, so to be stuck in this traffic for the last 45 minutes and probably at least another 45 minutes really sucks on the front end of this trip, but oh well, what can you do? We'll get there eventually. This sucks. Well, after 2 hours getting across the border, we are finally in Canada. Look at, welcome to Ontario. Laura, you were excited about that 2 hour wait, weren't you? Oh my gosh, 2 hours. So there you are, we're finally in Canada. You know, everyone is, well, most everyone is extremely nice in Canada, and I always have a great time when I'm up here, but I'm still not gonna tell you the destination that we're actually going to. We still have about 3 hour drive to get to that. So you can keep guessing if you'd like. Okay, so we are finally here at our destination here, and I gotta show you guys this view. You guys will never believe this. Check this out. Oh my gosh. What do you think?
That's pretty amazing.
Wow, we finally made it. Well, guess what, guys? I'm not gonna quite tell you guys where we're at yet today, but tomorrow morning, I'll show you what this view looks like and how breathtaking it really is. So I hope you guys have an amazing day. Thank you for joining me on all of this crazy adventure. You guys have an amazing day. Thank you again for everything. Make sure to smash that like button and hit that notification bell. Be kind to somebody, guys. I promise I'm gonna see you in the morning with this beautiful view.